Hey guys, Ben here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Arrowverse. We've got some big news in regards to DCTV and what's going to be happening in the future. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. Okay, so as you guys know, recently the Arrowverse and the CW has been really up in the air, and that is due to Nexstar taking over the CW and basically they're taking it in a separate direction that they want to go down. But one consistent thing that we've had since the start of the Arrowverse has been the production companies that have been running the Arrowverse shows. That being of course Berlanti Productions, which is run by Greg Berlanti, who is one of the main people who have spearheaded the Arrowverse and everything that's basically happened recently on the CW. Like, he's created some of their most popular shows. Also, he's got some sort of record about like running the most shows at once. Like, he has so many shows at one point. Obviously in recent years this has gone down, especially earlier this year as Nexstar came in and tried to clear house for the CW, because most of Berlanti's shows are over on the CW because he has a great relationship in the past with the head of the CW, that being of course Mark Pedowitz, who left a while ago. And now we've got new people in charge from Nexstar. Anyway, we're going to be breaking down this Hollywood Reporter article that basically goes over the big changes that's going to be happening. And let me tell you guys, it is a big change because Greg Berlanti is changing agencies, which is a big deal in Hollywood because that means that they will have a different relationship with the people that they worked with in the past, and obviously they're going to try and get new deals with everything to do with Berlanti Productions and just Berlanti himself. So I think this definitely could affect the Arrowverse. So let's go ahead and break down this article. So one of Hollywood's most prolific showrunners is switching agencies. Greg Berlanti has signed with CAA for representation in all areas. The architect of the CW's Arrowverse and more recently the co-creator of Netflix's You and producer of feature My Policeman is moving to CAA from WME, where he'd been for 15 years. So CAA and WME are just Hollywood agencies for directors, actors, producers, stuff like that. That's all you really need to know. But Berlanti had been repped by them for 15 years, and the news comes as Berlanti has been in the midst of negotiations with Warner Bros. Discovery to extend his $400 million overall deal, which he signed in 2018. It's unclear if he will do so, given that his current deal was made years before the Warner Media Discovery merger. That deal included bonuses for the number of series that Berlanti was able to get picked up. The prolific producer, who owns the record for the most scripted originals on air or in the works, has seen that volume take a hit following the CW's sale to Nexstar. Berlanti Productions is behind 8 series on the network, but 3 of them, The Flash, Stargirl and Riverdale, are ending this season, and the new owner Nexstar has signaled its intentions to pursue lower cost scripted series as it attempts to make the CW profitable. Also of growing concern is Berlanti's future role with DC Studios. Given the studio's new leadership and executives' interest in better unifying both its TV and film universes, Berlanti, who ushered in TV's comic book craze with the CW's Arrowverse, has also seen his DC slate shrink to the final season of The Flash, Superman, Lois and the upcoming Gotham Knights, all for the Nexstar controlled platform. Stargirl has finished, so that's one show out of the way already, so he's got very minimal DC shows left. And he's also reworking a Green Lantern series with a new creative direction for HBO Max. The Warner Bros. Backed streamer previously axed Berlanti's Strange Adventures series, which he was developing. And so sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that Berlanti, who turned 50 this year, is looking toward his next chapter in the industry and wanted a team of agents to assist with that charge. And then they also mentioned that he's kind of made a push towards more film work recently, producing quite a few films. But we'll skip over that because that doesn't really concern the Arrowverse specifically. So let's read these last couple of paragraphs. So sources say Berlanti's legal team recently sent a letter to his past agency, WME, that if he were to leave the agency, there would be no commissions if his overall deal is re-upped at Warner Bros. His current deal expires in 2024, but Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav was eager to extend one of the studio's most important deals. So there you go. That is kind of the most interesting and important part of this article. The fact that David Zaslav is interested in extending Greg Berlanti's deal with Warner Brothers. So that obviously means a connection to DCTV. I know that it's not specifically the CW, but they are still Warner Brothers productions. If they continue to do shows like Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights, and if Justice U actually happens, it's still going to be Warner Brothers producing the content along with Berlanti Productions, so that's important. So I'm really waiting to see what happens with that, to know if Greg Berlanti is going to continue on with the Arrowverse. Obviously, Berlanti has a huge connection because he's the person that's literally got the strings over the whole Arrowverse. He like overlooks everything, basically. That's all you need to know. And so if he leaves, it would signify a huge change and probably the end for the Arrowverse. And that is because he is in control of Berlanti Productions, and if another production company takes over and they say continue doing Arrowverse shows, obviously there may be some rights issues considering it's been Berlanti that's been working on it this whole time, so I don't know if you could call it the Arrowverse or do anything too similar, so it would be quite separate. It would still be DCTV, but it wouldn't be Arrowverse. And so with that in mind, what do you guys think? I really want to know. Do you think that this is a huge deal? Because I think it's a big deal. Because of his dwindling Arrowverse shows like The Flash, Superman, Lois, and Gotham Knights is all that's left. And he's also working on a Green Lantern series, but another series on HBO Max got axed. So I think right now he's focused on changing his agency in order to not be messed around like he's been getting messed around in this past year. Because if you are Greg Berlanti, you are upset that your shows are all being cancelled all at once. Like, he had so many shows being cancelled left, right and centre because of Nexstar. He's probably going to want to move away from the CW, if I'm being completely honest, because I don't think he wants to deal with any of these Nexstar people, because they've axed half of his, or even more than half of his shows on the network. And obviously he agreed, and they all agreed to end The Flash and Riverdale, so that's kind of a different situation. But with the cancellations, that's, I feel like, the driving force behind him changing his agencies. And in Hollywood, that's a big deal, because the agents are the ones that kind of get you your deals. They organize how much money maybe you're going to get for each project and everything like that. So it's a big deal. And I don't think his past agency, which he'd been with, was prepared for what was going to be happening with the Nexstar takeover of the CW, and I think that left him in a bad situation, and so this is why he's decided to change. And I think it does spell bad for the Arrowverse, and it really puts into question, is there going to be any Arrowverse in the future? I really find it hard to believe that Berlanti's going to want to make more Arrowverse shows on the CW. He may want to make more DC shows, but somewhere else, so maybe HBO Max is the place to go. But like we previously discussed, Warner Bros. Discovery right now isn't really into the idea of creating a ton of shows, similar to what Berlanti had done in the past. He created a lot of shows, and obviously he holds like a world record, which was a big deal at the time, and the fact that he had so many CW DC shows obviously created this big universe. And I'm at least happy to see that David Zaslav has some sort of sense. Like, he knows that Greg Berlanti is extremely valuable, because like, along with a couple of other producers and showrunners, he is one of the biggest showrunners in Hollywood based on the shows he's creating and how many, the quantity, but also the quality and the amount of fan attraction that they get. They get huge fan attraction, especially on social media, because obviously it kind of skews towards a kind of younger audience with like Riverdale, The Flash, Arrow in the past, and Supergirl. So I would say for now, obviously this is very concerning to us Arrowverse fans, but I think we can settle down until we hear what happens with the Warner Brothers deal. Is it going to get re-upped? And if it gets re-upped, I would say that's a good sign. We may get more DC shows from Greg Berlanti, but if they don't re-up it, I'm gonna say probably the end of the Arrowverse. So definitely be on the lookout for that, along with if this Green Lantern show actually gets made, because if the Green Lantern show gets made and it airs on HBO Max, obviously on Warner Brothers streaming service, that definitely bodes well for the future of DC content under Greg Berlanti's control, because if he proves himself to WBD and David Zaslav, they're going to go back to him. and they're going to come running and wanting more shows like Green Lantern. So I do think the Green Lantern show is very, very important as of right now, although we don't think it's probably going to get made in the next few years. So I don't know, maybe the Arrowverse is going to be dead by then. We really have to wait and see as to if Superman and Lois continues beyond season 3, and also Gotham Knights. Is Gotham Knights just going to be basically a limited series, as I've said many times, because at this point it's fairly certain Nexstar and the CW are probably not going to want to keep it because it's going to be an expensive show, and if it doesn't do the numbers that they want, they're just going to axe it. So right now everything's up in the air, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you liked my analysis about this big change with Greg Berlanti changing his agencies and trying to re-up his deal with Warner Brothers. So for now, if you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, really helps out the channel. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Also, merch is available. You can click the link in the description below. It's the dctvshow.tmail.com if you want to get some merch and support the channel. It's really comfy, very clean, very simple, and I really recommend it if you like the channel and you want something nice to wear. Maybe you can get it as like a late Christmas present for yourself. And once again, a big shout out to everyone that has ordered from the store. I really appreciate your support towards the channel and everyone that shows up for every video. And I understand if you want to buy merch but you can't afford it, it's totally fine. Just watching the videos is more than enough to support the channel, and I really appreciate you coming back every time we upload. And remember, we're uploading pretty much daily, and if we're not uploading, we're live streaming. So for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.